And I know times like this you just take it slow. I fall asleep in the pillows. She got my heart in a chokehold. And there she goes.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Today is the 18th of June 2023, it's Sunday. I'll be sharing my weekly review for the upcoming week. We'll be starting with the DXY, the US dollar. On the weekly chart, you can see the last few weeks we have this range, which is a balanced price range. Price has balanced it correctly. It has reached to the weekly order block, daily order block, and to the mean threshold of the weekly order block. So we can delete all of these, and we wanted to see it. Want to see this weekly inversion fair value gap to act as a support that sends price higher, and now we want right here we wanted to see it act as resistance that sends price lower, reaching to these fair value gaps that are shown on the daily. Here, you see this fair value gap and this fair value gap, and this order block which we are aiming for. Anyway, so I can delete these now because we have already achieved them. Go to the weekly. You can see here that we have this still inversion fair value gap. We can take these off because now they are just distractions. So we can take we took these off because they are distraction. Since we have already closed here, price has either to go down for sell stops or to balance an inefficiency, or to go up to take a buy stops or buy side liquidity, or to have to fill or to balance out an inefficiency. So as you can see here, we have this inefficiency. We preferably want to see price fill it just to balance it out and to continue going down. It might create a fair value gap going lower, which later on can balance it out. So on Monday, tomorrow, we're gonna be monitoring during Monday. Gonna see if price wants to go up higher just to rebalance to this candle's low here, just low, and then it can go lower, or it can just create a fair value gap and just keep going lower right here, and then it might rebalance to it, and just which my bias for DXY is bearish until we reach this sell side liquidity that is shown here. This is my objective for the US dollar. Going to the Euro USD, the fiber. As you can see, this is an inversion fair value gap. I can move this now, and we have this buy side liquidity here. So if the DXY or the US dollar supports our vision that is going to go lower, the Euro USD is going to be respecting that, and it will go higher, reaching to this buy side liquidity. Which this inversion fair value gap can act as a support that sends price higher. Pound USD. Basically, the last few weeks it has been going higher. It has taken this buy side liquidity. Has rebalanced to these buy side liquidity. So we might expect some kind of a consolidation here after reaching to these targets, or it might rebalance a little bit, or like retrace to this newly created bullish order block. This can send price higher if the US dollar actually goes lower. The pound can actually retrace to this area. This is called the magic area in the order block. This area is the magic area. You took a picture of it, that's fine. So this price can retrace to the magic area and to the bullish order block, which can send it higher if the DXY actually goes lower. So this is pretty much for the pound. Going to the ES, we can see that last week we've reached to these targets. We've reached to this fair value gap, consequent encouragement. We reached to the refined. This is the refined fair value gap based on this new high that was formed a few weeks later. The consequent encouragement of that fair value gap, the refined fair value gap, we reached these targets last week, and I've annotated that I'm really glad I finished it. Like I'm so good in calling these out, and not just calling, I'm trading these, and I have the recordings on my YouTube channel. You can check them; they are in private. How I traded these drawn liquidities. So I'm not just calling shit out. No, I'm actually taking trades. So since we have, let's put them back on. Since we've reached here, we can actually put that here. Our next targets are going to be this. This is the beginning, which is 44.99.5 is going to be the beginning of the volume imbalance, and the real liquidity void that I have annotated here in light blue color or light green. I'm not sure. This is a real liquidity void where there is absolutely no orders here. So we can actually see price treat one of these like this consequent encouragement or this consequent encouragement or this fair value gap. It can act as a support that sends price higher, because if you go to the daily, you can see price can open here on Monday, on Tuesday anyway. It can open, trade down to consequent encouragement of this refined fair value gap, or to the consequent encouragement of the actual fair value gap that actually can send price higher to take out or to reach, to draw to the volume imbalance, this volume imbalance, to the real liquidity void, and perhaps to the consequent encouragement of this long wick. So if you measure it and you keep it on your chart, it is the 4512.75. That's it. So this is consequent encroachment of premium wick, and you can make it smaller, of course. With this, make it smaller so it can be readable. So these would be my targets. First of all, the volume imbalance, the beginning of the volume imbalance, the consequent encouragement of the premium wick, the high of the premium wick, the real liquidity void. So it's going to be the first three are going to be the volume imbalance, the consequent encouragement of the premium wick, this wick right there, and the beginning of the real liquidity void. And these points are going to be used later on as a support that sends price higher, perhaps to reach to this price side liquidity or to this price side liquidity. But we are just looking for the real close hanging fruit objective. We're not looking for the bottom or to the top. We're not trying to pick the bottom, we're not trying to pick the top. We're just operating with what the chart is showing us based on the technicals that we have, that we're going to be using, since I'm a technical scientist. So this is my view on the ES for the next week. NQ basically, it has been like working up lately, so I'm going to be using that continuous contract. As you can see, last week we've like this has been this pair, this index has been the leadership between all three, the Dow, the ES or S&P 500, and the Nasdaq. Nasdaq has been the leadership, and while the ES and the especially the Dow has been the successor between all three of them, and the ES a little bit, but they've been moving lately, following the leadership here. So we swept this price side liquidity last week, and which is like a relative equal highs if you think about it, because we have this high here also. We have these buy side liquidity here that I really like. I want to see price just navigate through them. First, we can see it trade to this order block, and then perhaps to this high. These will be my targets, and this fair value gap. These will be my three targets on the block, fair value gap low, and the buy side liquidity. So these would be like my jaw in liquidity if price actually moves up higher, and go for these targets, because as I mentioned, the ES is going to be moving higher. So if these were going in tandem, we're actually going to be moving upwards to take these targets. First of all, the bearish order block here, the beginning of the fair value gap here. I'm going to just outline it for you to see it. This fair value gap, and the rejection block, you can talk about this, the 16,360, and the buy side liquidity. But my main focus is on this order block, and maybe the consequent encouragement of this discount wick, which is about at 16. $50.75 exactly. So these will be my three targets: order block, discount wick. So yeah, these are going to be my objectives for the next week. Going to next week, these will be my objectives: the order block, discount wick, consequent encouragement, the bearish order block, and the fair value gap low, and eventually the buy side liquidity if we have a really great week. So we went through the dollar, the Euro USD, the cable, the fiber and the cable, pound USD, pound dollar, and we went through the ES, S&P 500, we went through the Nasdaq here, through the continuous contract, and eventually I'm gonna go through the Dow. So I'm gonna be using September contract, which is YMU 2023. This is how you type it out. We have four contracts: H, which stands for March, M, which stands for June, U, which stands for September, and Z, which stands for December. So we have four contracts for the index futures, or the indices futures, whatever you want to call it. So lately, price have been moving up higher, as I've mentioned that we have this as a successor, so it's going to be gravitating through these buy side liquidity. We've created an equal highs here, this high with this buy side liquidity, and price really doesn't like the clean highs or clean lows, so it really wants to make them jagged in the near future. We might see this act as support. Let's sense this volume imbalance. It might act as support that sends price higher to reach to this buy side liquidity. We need to monitor this on Monday to see, and as you can see, everything can changes once the week starts, so we just have to keep it on our minds. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Actually, this would be considered as a mitigation block also. So it's like it's kind of like in the mini threshold of this mitigation block, which is an area of reaction. Price might react from this level. And that's pretty much it. I'm aiming for the buy side liquidity. So I'm aiming for the buy side liquidity in all three averages. I'm aiming for the sell side liquidity in the DXY, in the US dollar, and I'm aiming for the buy side liquidity in the Euro USD. I'm aiming for the buy side liquidity, and I want to look for this to act as support, and I'm looking for the buy side liquidity also, or maybe it's gonna be a consolidation here in the pound USD. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this weekly review. I'll be happy to review what price gonna be doing, and I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts. I'm gonna be journaling everything, and I'm gonna go through what is my thoughts about the marketplace on daily basis. Until I talk to you next time, be safe. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.